In the U.S., in the city of New York, and in the Manhattan Avenue Landmark District, Sunny, Adam, and Nick live on 123rd Street in Harlem. There are many types of doorways and entrances where we live. There are a ton of stoops, a few grand entranceways, some cellar doors, and the occasional sliding door. Some are well maintained or restored, some are not. The various appearance of these facades partially owe their current conditions to the enactment of the 1965 New York City Landmarks Law, which was allegedly designed to protect and preserve the built environment that were deemed historically significant. Despite the neighborhood's prevalence of these old brownstone houses that were built in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, this area was not designated as a historic district, leaving the preservation and maintenance of the historic elements of our building solely to the private owner, who determined if it was still not worth it to repair things like the rails, the door handles, or the locks. So, for now, Sunny continues to struggle up our stoop and through the doorway with his bike. But then again, our neighbor grows a pretty great herb garden.
Care resides at 30 Morningside Drive, an apartment complex located just off of Morningside Park. This development is comprised of a quintet of former hospital buildings that have since been renovated into residential apartments. Two of the structure's towers have been deemed historic landmarks, a designation that has led to their exterior facades retaining their existing form. This has had a significant impact on the layout of the building's new interior spaces, including Care's apartment. Due to the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, the kitchen of Care's apartment has gained many responsibilities. A space once reserved for cooking and eating has been transformed into a classroom, personal gym, and living room, her one small window in this room being her only connection to the exterior. New York City's requirements for windows was first established by the Tenement House Act of 1879, but the air shafts provided by the act did little for natural ventilation and often turned into receptacles for waste from the apartments that opened onto them, creating a hazard for the tenants' health. The city expanded on its requirements with the Tenement House Act of 1901, creating greater access to light and fresh air for tenement residents. The kitchen space shown here, where Kara spends most of her time, is over 80 square feet, and thus deemed a kitchen by the New York City Building Code. However, it does not have access to an operable window. The developer was able to avoid installing one due to the building's historic landmark designation and because of the room's mechanical ventilation. Simple regulations in the building code, such as windows with access to light and air, have done a lot to improve the health of New York City's inhabitants. On its website, the International Code Council states that its purpose is to provide an essential tool to preserve public health and safety that provides safeguards from hazards associated with the built environment. Upon studying the ICC's approach to incorporating measures for health, we're left to wonder if they go far enough to promote occupant health, and what other simple codes, similar to the requirements for light and air, could be implemented that would have a large positive impact on the health of our society.
In other words, you have authority. Authority will be the authority itself. Your authority manifests. Most perfectly manifest. Most buildings are still there when you're authority over the physical world.
A huge demand for spend.
So that there's like
every pace, and we should read. And I think